Welcome back, everybody. Unite Mike's Mayhem Week 2 is well underway. Nemesis has just dispatched of Kakuna Matata, and we are playing with the Showdown format. Zoinks, what's the Showdown format?
Showdown format is something created by one of our co-casters, the brilliant Content Cowboy Spragels. It's a pretty simple format. You can only select a Pokemon once on your team for a entirety of a series. If you pick Greninja in Game 1, you are not allowed to pick Greninja again in Games 2 or 3, since we are playing best of 3 matches here today.
Boom. There it is. And who's the next matchup we've got, Zoinks?
We have Wasted Potential versus GT. Now, definitely some two phenomenal teams, well-known teams across the board. I think a lot of people are fan favorites of both of these squads for sure. I see a lot of Wasted Potential love in our chat from the Wasted Potential players, but I see a lot of love in our chat.
It counts.
It counts. It certainly counts. But we also have a lot of love for GT. Now, these are two really exceptional teams. I'm excited to see them play. All of them make a lot of content as well. You can also tune in to my podcast tomorrow to hear a little bit more from Espo, one of the players on GT, when we talk about supports in the game of Unite. Just a small little plug that I'll toss in there. But yeah, two really, really strong teams. Of course, you and I have played and, hung out with both of these teams and players before. A lot of fun these squads can bring. And I'm excited what they bring to the table, especially when it comes to this showdown format. I think that these teams can really showcase what this format means in terms of Pokemon variety. There's a lot of great picks available to both of these teams.
A lot of great picks available. I know that both of these teams have deep pockets when it comes to which Pokemon they can play. And the last thing I want to say is these teams from the end of the UCS till now have not stopped practicing as a team. They haven't stopped scrimming. They haven't stopped stacking. They have been grinding it out and repping it out. So, what a great litmus test to see the progress they've made than this event against each other right now.
Yeah, I think this is a great example to do that. And I mean, we talk a lot about the Unite Championship Series, of course, that Road to Worlds that happens. Currently, we have no knowledge of when these tournaments are going to come back or anything like that. So Unite Mike's Mayhem is what we are trying to provide in the intermedium. It's something that we both really love. This tournament has been so much fun. We're only in week number 2 of 4 weeks, and these games have been so exciting. But I really think that these teams, even more so than us, are looking for their chance for competitive Pokemon Unite.
Without a doubt. And something, there's something to be said by playing competitively, but there's also something to be said to be playing competitively for something, right. Which is another thing that we're trying to add to the mix. Again, on the line, glory, of course. $100 for the winning squad provided by us. Yeah. Done. Invite to next week so you can run it back and earn more money. Check. And lastly, you get to pick the rule set to give yourself and your squad, if you make it back, a little bit of a home field advantage, if you think that's a way that you can eke that out. Nemesis from last week, week 1, great showing. They're on their road. They're already in the finals. And now it's up to GT and Wasted Potential to play Dream Crushers and take over the top spot. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I mean, let's not beat around the bush too much. Wasted Potential is definitely going to be the David in this David and Goliath situation, but I don't think the disparity is that much. They definitely have some strong players on their side that are looking to prove that they are, can really take it to GT and win a huge, important game like this.
Without a doubt. And things are locking in quickly. Mime, Mew, Slow, bro. Dodrio, we did it!
No,
Dodrio's making its first showing here at Unite Mike's Mayhem. I can't wait to see it. On the other side, we got Lax, we got Char, we got Mime. Looks like Wasted Potential's playing a little bit. I was gonna say that, and then Mew is selected. I'm gonna write those down so I don't have to write again just in case. But Lakoding finally landing. I was gonna say landing on Machamp, switching up, switching it back. Let's talk about Kratos on Dodrio for a second. Let's go.
Okay. A Score Shield Razor Claw Dodrio as well. So we are going to see this Pokemon lean into what the game developers have designed it for. It is going to be scoring early, late, often, and as much as it possibly can. Kratos, of course, an exceptional player. One of the few players in Unite Mike's Mayhem that has played on the world stage, by the way. So definitely bringing a little bit extra level of experience points. Now, on the other side, Wasted Potential bringing in the vintage Bloomer Charizard. Now, Bloomer is a Gen 1 kid, absolutely adores Charizard, so a pocket pick for them, but they are a fearsome force on this Pokemon.
Well, Bloomer's going to go straight to that central area, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, as they're going to try and get to Charizard as soon as they can. Of course, Kratos taking over the middle.
Yeah, exactly. So this Pokemon definitely gets its early level spikes, and it can really be a menace to the other side. Now, Espel, on the other hand, has not started invading themselves, but instead has taken upon the role of defense as Kaz Noah tries to get a little bit of an invasion started, but two tanks smacking each other down is not going to get too much done here.
No, and of course the Mew was able to come and close the door on Espos. They've got a little too froggy as Jess is just chucking solar beams all over the map into the face of their opponents here. And I believe that's Black playing Mew this time around.
Yeah, exactly. So Black has been grinding this Mew quite a bit, but when it comes to Wasted Potential, Jess is definitely the player to watch. An exceptional mage-style player. An initial knockout here. Bloomer gets the knockout, combined with Jess's boosted auto, is a ton of damage. Bridget here takes a lot of damage, though, for return from Kratos.
Kratos engaging in a hard way, getting that big-time boosted dart forward with a quick attack, and now they're pushing Real Jess back all the way to their own goal zone. That means they have the pressure on the bees. There's GT, and Bloomer's just trying to eke out what they can, and so is Jess, as they tried their best, shot their shot, and now they're peeling back, waiting time for Bridget to come in with the mime.
We just saw it there for a second, but watch out for Kratos' big critical hits. Whenever they land, they are going to be doing so much damage. I believe they did sneak away that red buff, and another KO found in the enemy central area.
Yeah, that's one of Dodrio's strengths. Of course, it's incredibly easy to KO here, but when it does get the jump on you, it deals massive amounts of damage. Now, poor Palmer trying to hold it down as a Larvitar here in the goal zone as Lakoding is just all over them. And of course, the Surf Bro buying some time and space.
Bloomer and Jess trying to combine here. I think Electro Ball's a great tool to try to get them out of there, and Palmer comes down for a little bit of backup. One thing we didn't mention too much, though, by the way, dude, that's a submission Machamp right now. Lakoding is going for the Yeet build tonight.
I love it. Lakoding mixing it up and showing the diversity of all these characters here. As Espo bringing back the Surf Bro. We were on Surf, we were on Scald, and then back to Surf now as the metagame changes tides on a daily basis, it seems like. Me, big Surf fan. Love to see it.
Yeah, you were mentioning you love Surf. I've always been kind of a more affinity towards Scald here. But really, it's kind of dealer's choice when it comes to Slowbro. Two great options on those moves. It can be utilized in very different ways.
Palmer retreating back. Kratos trying to get that big-time engage. If they would have darted through and got a crit, I can't imagine Palmer would have been long for this world, as Eggnoob is bubbling out as well. And it's a good little tandem. They've gotten the bottom path. Bridget linking up with Palmer. They're going to see if they can put pressure on. And no, Bridget just peels to the middle. Going to meet upstairs.
Yeah, a little bit of a vacate yet again. And where does Kratos go? Anywhere that Wasted Potential does not want them. Dodrio with the only speedster we've had in addition to the game, and they're playing it well so far.
Big time KO on mine. Bridget was low. They were trying to make an impact with what they had left, but it wasn't much, and they were taken out. Real Jess trying to buy time, but no, Bloomer gets eviscerated by Kratos nonetheless, as now GT has full pressure in the top. All four players are there, one downstairs, and they're just hard engaging. Lakoding coming in with the submission. They're pushing back Bridget. Big engage by Kaz, but they're going to get mowed down here as there's 3 players on the goal zone. Kratos is peeling back, 2 players now for potential, and that goal zone is bucketed just like the rest of the squad, as that's another KO for Black CH.
Bloomer tries to get the KO, but the movement speed boost from Lakoding's Unite is a little bit too much for Bloomer to try to close the gap. That is now a couple of times poor Charizard's Unite move has been canceled due to a full heal, so Bloomer is finding a tough time to thread that needle right now.
And that gives GT the easy Regieleki upstairs. And if they want to trudge down to the basement, they can face the water heater or the water furnace or whatever you want to call it. That is the bottom Reggie there. And of course, Regice, Registeel, Regirock, all things that are be done. But that's not the top priority here, as Wasted Potential is working on this Regieleki. And Black just getting free solar beams to the face. Just chunking in big time damage.
Black hitting that level 9 is going to make Palmer, Kaz, and Bloomer's job so much harder. harder. Mew's Unite is such an incredible, probably the best we have in the game, of a get out of jail free card. You just press that button and you get a complete immunity and invisibility, and you just flee the scene. So Mew, a great escape artist in the game of Unite, and Black, of course, knows exactly when to press that button.
Black trying to work through. Eggnoob bought a ton of time. They're actually getting chased down by Kaz and Bloomer. They managed to stay on their feet and buy time for Black to clear, get their buffs, and come down. And now they're all over that bottom objective. And that was a Regice. Their HP going to be slowly climbing up.
Black able to secure it pretty nicely. Kaz takes a lot of early damage. Snorlax tanky enough to withstand it, though. And Real just takes in a bunch of extra damage. But that Solar Beam just a little bit too much for them to manage right now.
Lakoden gets a KO on Bloomer. That's a suplex, and now Mr. Mime is on the chopping block. They get KO'd by Black CH. Poor Bridget goes down after getting just stunned down by Lakoden. And GT's moving well, and they're moving in groups as Kratos is caught on the backside. There's two players there. A light screen and a block going to send them packing, at least for now.
Palmer has hit level 10, though. This Tyranitar scales so incredibly well into the late game. I know I mentioned that many times just on tonight's broadcast, but I think if they Wasted Potential wants to come back in this game, it's gonna need to be on the back of a player like Palmer. Definitely a superstar in their own right, and Tyranitar, a very strong Pokemon at this time in the game.
Yeah, they have to pretend like Kratos doesn't exist and start focusing 5-on-4 and getting some comeback experience. And they're looking for a big time engage now. First player's down, and that's Lakoden. They're going to try and find another one as they're pushing forward. One player down for Wasted, and they're going to try and buy some spot. The light screen grows up. Can the Solar Beam convert? And there's tons of people getting chunked. Two players down for GT, and they need to get on top of Black CH as Mew gets the KO on Bridget, and they're sent packing. But Mew, you cannot let Black get out of this. You need to convert, but that's another Solar Beam coming through, and Eggnoob gets credit for that one on the Tyranitar, the player that you talked about. Here comes Bloomer. They're trying to protect too. That's another Solar Beam to the backside, and that burns them down. You're going to need SPF 100 to sort that one out as Wasted Potential's push gets stopped by GT.
Eggnoob, one of the best goalies we have in all the Pokemon Unite, protecting their entire team, buying just enough time now, but the refight here is possible for Wasted Potential. A Regieleki at this point could be their answer to get some Eos energy on the scoreboard to start a little bit of a comeback situation. Jess chucks in a Solar Beam pretty early here, but Regieleki is close to the knockout potential. It does get knocked out by Wasted Potential. Regieleki on their side for now.
Fortunately, the deep engage by Kratos got a couple KOs. That's 4 on the nose exactly. As Palmer's trying to hold it down, they get one back the other way. 2 players down for GT. They can let that hit and just kind of babysit, but instead they're going to burn that Regieleki down as Kratos is caught out, and they're going to get burned down too. Roast Chicken Bloomer finally getting fed a little bit. Level 12, level 13, and they have to be good at least on how that comeback experience turned back into their hard carries.
Yeah, I mean, comeback experience definitely has been going pretty well for Wasted Potential. Level-wise, things aren't looking too detrimental. Of course, the scoreline, another story. GT has earned themselves a pretty gigantic lead right now in this game. Black, of course, defending that goal zone, keeping that 0 stat line for them ongoing. But this huge amount of experience could mean that Wasted Potential has a chance to win a strong team fight, but it's going to be on GT to not give them that option. Play spread, play wide so that you can get vision and not give this death ball composition the runway that it wants.
Yeah, Eggnoob's going to look for a hard engage on Kaz and force Wasted Potential into weird moments here as Rayquaza has hit the map. Big time engage by Kaz. They're trying to block out Noob. They almost chipped them back into the tunnel, which would have been huge. Now the chase is on. There's 4 players on 2. They're trying to get on top of Eggnoob. Palmer's trying to find their way in. Black and Lakoden and Evan Company are just sitting on their own goal zone. They're going to get their shields and XP. Wasted Potential is chunked and not converting on anyone. They're just going to dive onto Rayquaza, see if they can do something. There's Dodrio's now. That's Kratos. And they have nothing. They can turn the tides on. Big Mime Unite is going to shred the other squad. Wasted Potential's caught out, 2 players down, and all of a sudden GT is back in charge of this one. Palmer's getting shredded too, and if Lakoden can convert on them, I think this one is over. Wasted Potential and Palmer is just reeling back as Kaz is trying to buy time. Palmer needs to reset. Big time surf engage on Snorlax. They're buckled, and now it's just Bridget, and it's just T-Char Palmer that can come in. Palmer has to go up and stop the stop the score, as GT is all over this Rayquaza, and they take it for free.
Yeah, I mean, well, for free, they did win a pretty huge fight to create that space for themselves, but you're right, there was no contest there at the end. Wasted Potential, and now going for a little bit of back cap action. Palmer going to be able to dunk a hundo burger of their own in the top path, but GT right now obviously has had charge of this game all in all, and they are going to stay on top here at the end. 30 seconds left, and GT has found a irrefutable lead in this game number 1.
26 seconds, and that is not enough time for wasted potential to turn the tides on this one. Down by over 500, and we know that's a critical threshold here in the game of Pokemon Unite. The final 2 minutes, and it's ducket time indeed for GT as they got all their points in, they got all the burgers, and wasted potential and Palmer just trying to do their best to even up that scoreline to the best of their ability. Maybe make it look a little worse than that particular game one shook out.
Sure, of course. Hey, our first Dodrio debut on Unite Mike's Mayhem, by the way. I know you were very excited about that three-headed Kanto bird. I'm excited too. This new speedster can definitely cause a lot of mayhem on its own. But hey, a pretty huge game there from GT. A big start there for them, showcasing why they are excited to compete in this one. Wasted potential. This composition definitely wasn't the answer they were looking for to go up against a Titan like GT, but they are down but not out. Game number 2 is still an option for them with a fresh, clean slate, and you know at the very least, there won't be a Mr. Mime and a Mew on the other side.
Well, for either team,
That's
actually.
true.
So this might be a Glaceon game here for GT and WP as going in. But one thing that GT did is they did not leverage necessarily. They chose a couple spike characters, you know, Black on Mew, but I know Black's been playing a lot of T-Tar. That's probably going to be an easy switch for them. But Eggnoob trying to give that hyper carry in Mime, and of course got the crown for themselves as well. So GT trying that more balanced strategy throughout games 1, 2, and 3. But once you win the first one, I'm of the mindset, remove all the stops, choose all the best Pokemon that you have available to you, and end this thing early, and deal with game 3 if you actually get there. Wasted potential back against the wall. I expect a Glaceon to come in, and I expect each person to pick up their personal best Pokemon that is remaining and really try and even this thing out.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how deep the pockets are on both of these teams. I mean, notably, Bloomer brought out the Charizard, and ace they are on that Pokemon. You saw them get a, unfortunately, I didn't catch it on screen, but they had a pretty nice 1v1 win against Kratos around that bottom path. Kratos was looking for a sneaky back cap. Bloomer was able to shut it down, the Charizard, but they have Aegislash as well, a very strong Pokemon that they can take a hold of, and I'm sure after seeing a Machamp on the other side, Palmer is going to want to bring their own Machamp.
I was just going to say Palmer on Machamp, Bloomer on Sword. That's something I've gotten to cast before and loved every moment of it, and something I really think, I mean, this is the way our tournament structure works. I mean, this is a do or die game for them, right? If they don't win this, they're sent packing. So what better to keep your tournament hopes alive than go back to the Sword and the 4-armed Goro? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, go into pocket picks for sure. If I'm looking at the other side of wasted potential, what their answers could be, I know Jess has a absolutely phenomenal Delphox. One of my favorite Delphox players, watching them play that. Kaz, I know, is a substitute for this team right now, so I don't know their entire pocket picks pool that they are going to be bringing to the table, but I am excited to see what they had. They had a pretty solid Snorlax game, but it's tough to, you know, stem the water that is coming towards you in terms of a waterfall crashing down on you from GT in that game there. But yeah, definitely some things they can do. On the other hand, GT has taken away that Mime and Mew. Where do you think GT takes this strategy into game number 2?
Quite frankly, I think it goes. I mean, Eggnoob. I mean, they're a phenomenal Blissey player. They might go there. I'm expecting Black to pick up T-Tar because I think they're incredibly oppressive at that. And that's, there you go. Eggnoob on Blissey right out of the gate. Love locking that in. Espo picking up like kind of like the true tank role in Snorlax here.
Okay.
Black going on Delphox, another amazing character. We've seen the magic that thing can do in our tournament last week. We've seen it already this week. And there we go. Bloomer on the Sword. Palmer looking to Glaceon. It's a strong character. That might be what they're thinking here as Kaz picks up Slowbro. So more of a tank player, I guess, for Kaz, eh?
Yeah, I have seen them play some tanks. I've watched some of, if you're watching our content right now and you want to play some competitive stuff, but you don't have a team, go check out Bloomer's Saturday community games, by the way. They are so cool. We'll play with anybody in his community. Just sign up and you get thrown into some pickup games. It is so much fun. I've casted a few games. Bloomer casts all of them. It's very exciting. So if you're looking for that, check it out. I've seen Kaz play there. Really strong tank player. Espo, on the other hand, though, this Snorlax is going to be a pretty big threat. And there's a lot of confidence from wasted potential in the chat right now. Palmer calling about we got him where we want him. So Palmer is pretty confident in this game number 2.
Listen, if there's two things I see, it's 1, Palmer in the chat. 2, 2 players on Wasted Potential with those green ribbons on those Pokemon, which means they got some miles. They got some miles on them.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, we got an Absol here from Kratos. Now, Kratos has played a multitude of roles in Unite, kind of filling the slot for a lot of different teams of where they needed a player and where they needed it most. Central area has been one where Kratos has been able to shine the most. Attacker roles, central area, pretty much wherever they can deal the most damage. Now, in this game, they're going to be wanting to take the Absol into action.
Looks like we had a little bit of a jump scare here in the middle. If you can jump us to the central area on the right-hand side, I'd appreciate it. I think Lax is going for the deep invade, and Fennekin and Palmer, Jess and Palmer are trying to sort that out. Espo gets low, but they waste a ton of time. And when it comes to slow, bro, can't believe I just said that. Here we go. Slow, bro. It's good. Now I'm all junked up. Zonk,
it's all right. I'll take over. Yeah, don't worry. Just not able to get that blue buff there is a pretty dangerous thing for that Pokemon. I mean, Glaceon was able to knock it out, but the blue buff going over that direction instead of the Fennekin, you definitely would want that the other way here. Now, Bridget and Jess here, a very dynamic duo in this bottom path. They can try to lock it down, but I am interested to see how Bloomer takes this early hone edge here into the top path to go up against Lakoding's Lucario.
Well, Lakoding definitely e-speeding through, and Palmer getting chunked big time as the engage is happening. Absol's all over him. Espo's going to try and chip them up, and Kratos is going to close the door absolutely like a locksmith, lock it down. Now, Kaz is trying to hold it down, but they're still just a paltry slowpoke, and they're getting absolutely shredded as that's another KO into the hands of Kratos, and that's exactly who you want getting the experience. And Absol that's ahead is a happy Absol.
I mean, make no mistake, Lakoding made their name on this Lucario. This is their origin story. They busted it back out of the closet and are ready to showcase again. The damage that they are able to do on this Pokemon is ridiculous right now, and GT is invading very far into Wasted Potential's home.
I mean, you saw Espo come in with Kratos, and they got a quick KO on the sword, keeping it from going to a double-blade. Finally, it does, as Kratos chunks Kaz as well. Espo holding it down, sleeping, putting their points in, and now they get engage on Kaz, who's just now taking over to level 5, Zoinks.
Yeah, Palmer got out very deep. I think they were getting a little greedy for their own scores, but they get dusted.
Dusted indeed. That's another player down. These KOs are stemming into the face of GT, and they're taking them all as Kaz is trying to hold it back. A block is going to lock them down, keep them in place, and that's another KO for GT as Black is the one that gets credit for that one.
There we go. A pretty solid overdone considering the situation right now. GT is running it up. The damage they are doing right now is ridiculous. This composition for GT is really paying off in our game number 2.
I mean, Espo's chucking mitts, and they're getting KOs here. Real Jess has been downstairs pretty much the whole time trying to hang out and do what they can, but Eggnoob is 3 levels above them, and here comes Kratos, and they're just going to take the very big-time engage as Jess is just forced to reel, retreat, and hope that somebody on their squad pulls up for the help.
Exactly. Now, Lakoding does knock out the Regieleki in the top path, sending it down lane there, but Eggnoob has been holding down this bottom path quite well. Jess has not been able to hit that very important level 6 quite yet, and the pursuit from Kratos is a little bit too strong, and the chase down finds the knockout.
Lakoding engages with the Bone Rush, trying to find Bridget. They do. That's one, and they're chunking up the rest of the squad as the Delphox Unite comes out, and that's going to be an easy pickings if you're GT as they're working through Bloomer, Palmer. Real Jess trying to hold it down. Real Jess just poured level 5. Bloomers on the backside. They get blocked down, and Black's going to close that door. That is a type advantage, Zoinks, and that's exactly what Black CH made it look like.
Yeah, exactly. No weakness policy for that Pokemon, unfortunately, but Espo has been playing this Snorlax extremely well. I mean, Espo, one of the best support players that we have in all of North America, is picking up this supportive style Snorlax extremely well. Meanwhile, Eggnoob just casually duoing a Registeel there with Kratos. Pretty huge Pokemon to be able to secure. Those eggs are going to be packing an even bigger punch.
That's without a doubt, and I fear for the day for Wasted Potential when Eggnoob just locks in somebody with that Bliss Assistance, because it's going to be ridiculous. Bloomer trying to hold it down, deep engage. They're going to try and find Black. If they can get this, that's decent comeback experience for them, but it's Lakota that shuts the door, shuts the windows, closes the garage on that particular opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that play, right? At this point in time, with a deficit this bad in terms of levels, you have to make those Hail Mary style plays to earn experience back the other direction. Now, on the other hand, Kratos is trying to do the same thing, absolutely play bully and try to shut them down. They take a lot of damage here, but the Snorlax Heavy Slam, a little bit too much for Bloomer to deal with. A big wide guard gives him some healing.
Yeah, kicks him over to level 9, gives him the Unite move, gets him level 10, and now the Delphox Unite comes through, and they turn to what to a sad state of affairs into a winning position here, and they just pick off Lakota. Good shot by Real Chess, absolute sniper Mark Wahlberg as they're coming through, and it's a block by Espo to get onto their pad and scramble for 2 berries. Now Jess playing a little far forward, gets chunked up by the Heavy Slam, but Espo takes a deep breath on that goal pad.
I mean, I don't hate playing up that far forward. You know the respawn timers are going to be real long for GT. Stay up in that space while you have it. Big Unite there from Palmer to kick this thing off, though.
Yeah, Bliss Assistance comes through. Eggnoob trying to find their way in as Bloomer converts, and Real Jess is getting KOs back the other way. This is their opportunity to push. Can they close this thing out before Regieleki hits? Probably not. Look for the big-time overdunk, and I think they just got 138 points.
Yeah, 2 dunks of 40 there. Gonna give them a huge overdunk. Both Bloomer and Palmer make it happen. Lakota takes a lot of damage here, but the X-Speed block is a little bit too scary. Bloomer retreats in well-timed Sacred Sword boosted up.
Yeah, the worst thing they could have done is hemorrhage some experience back. This is a great opportunity for Kratos to get further ahead in experience. There's nobody for wasted potential there. They're forced to retreat, chunked on the Regieleki push, and that's a great look and good map awareness by GT.
Oh, man, what a comeback here for wasted potential so far. GT, of course, bouncing back in their own way, like you were just mentioning. Kratos making sure they get any level advantage lead they need. Regice, definitely not a popular of the 3 of the trio, but still is going to be the main focus for these 2 sets of 3 Pokemon.
Yeah, Wasted Potential going to try and play safe, but here comes Lakota for the engage for them hanging around just a little too long, and Eggnoob gets it for GT, and Wasted Potential getting knocked down like dominoes as GT sussed that out. Lakota engaged, and the rest of the team converted. Good look by them, getting the objective and getting those KOs.
I really was wondering if the Aegis Slash from Bloomer there was going to try for that flank, but, you know, thought better of the 1v4 situation there. Notice they have hit this level 12 already. They can play it a bit safer. Ooh, a big engage here. The Scald only went on the Blissey, though. That means Lucario is going to be doing full damage.
Black CH pulled up for that little surprise. Pew pew as Eggnoob and Lakota in tandem worked right through Bloomer, shattered that sword, no question. Holy smokes, good engage by GT as Bloomer still looking for those long bomb plays downfield to try and get themselves on the board.
I mean, they are down by a fair margin of points, but at least they have a bigger presence on the board in terms of score compared to game number 1. Now, this Regieleki could definitely change things around. Would not be surprised to see Palmer throw the Unite move out here early to try to shift the tides. Just the most forward position of their team. They're getting in close to try to do the damage. Mystical Fire goes back the other way, though, and it does not hit the Regieleki.
Getting engaged, and there's 2 players down for Wasted Potential as the GT is collapsing all over that squad. As soon as Rayquaza comes up, of course, any KO here feels even worse because of the damage, and that's Bridget, I believe, that's going down. Palmer's on the chase. Black CH wants to close the door on them. They try to re-engage back, but no such luck as that Hundo Burger going downstairs. Kratos getting credit for that. Kaz, day late, dollar short to stop that action.
Kaz does have Unite move, so does Bloomer, of course. This coup de grace, definitely a strong Unite move, but better near the end of the fight when the enemy Pokemon is at lower HP percentage. That, you know, the assassination style move that this Pokemon has needs to be used at the right timing. Bloomer, definitely a master of it, but can they get that opportunity?
Well, they're working through Eggnoob, which is one of the chonkier players on GT, and they need to find their way to the back line and take out this Absol, and of course, take out Black CH and that Delphox, which actually resides on the backside. Espo playing very far back their other way, trying to cut off Kaz as Lakota is just looking for another opportunity to get a KO. Huge engage there, collapsing all over that Slowbro, forces out the paltry Unite move with nobody on there to convert as Lakota is just running havoc all over Palmer. Bridget trying to pick up Palmer, but that's a fruitless endeavor as now the Big Egg is rolling going downhill, and Humpty Dumpty is looking like they're about to fall off that wall, and they are dusted by Black CH.
Yeah, Jess finally finds the area to throw down the Unite move, but the stop there from Espo, just a little bit too much for them to conquer, and now a great defensive effort again from GT is going to be shutting down the offense from Wasted Potential. They only have 30 seconds, but with no Pokemon up and ready to score any goals here, I think this one is locked in place. We're looking at a Nemesis versus GT grand final.
And now just everybody's chucking their moves all over the place. We're in garbage time here as Espo's looking for the engage on the goal zone. There's already a Delphox Unite sitting there blocking out Bridget, and they're just trying to put salt in the wound here, getting more points in if they can. Hundo Burger on the nose. Last minute order right before the restaurant closes, and they get credit for it as Kratos gets an 80 banger as well.
Big scores headed in at the end of the game. GT played a really phenomenal game. Wasted Potential with definitely some sparks of hope around that top path. Some hero plays from both Palmer and Bloomer, and especially Jess. But in the end, Wasted Potential falls a little bit short. A closer game in game number 2, but GT securing this one, the entire series, 2-0.
Again, great, and well done by GT. You know, Agnew being able to find their way onto that Blissey and find their way into the action, holding down the bottom goal zone, being over leveled, but not carrying experience share as a feat in and of itself. And Wasted Potential, better rotations this game. It's a real shame that Jess couldn't get online earlier, because the moment they hit Delphox, wow, did they take over and really became like the biggest presence for Wasted Potential, just hucking damage and changed the ties of that top path fight that they had, you know, at the 4-minute mark. 4 minutes remaining in the game mark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Jess is one of the best Delphox players that I have ever seen. It's just a really tough matchup when you go into another one of those players of Black CH on the other side. I mean, Delphox duels are so exciting to watch, though. Those little slide moves they get to do with the Heelys they must have on underneath that fur dress. It is a very, very fun duel to watch. But we have one more exciting duel tonight here for Unite Mike's Mayhem. We, of course, have the finale of tonight's event, GT versus the returning champs of Nemesis. We're going to be playing that same format and one more best of 3. What are they playing for, Dupes next?
They're playing for glory. They're playing for $100. They're playing for the invite back, and they're playing for the opportunity to give themselves a little bit of home field advantage by choosing the rule set of the following week. Nemesis won week 1, and they chose the Spragels Showdown format for this week. It's clearly paid off to this point as they find themselves in the finals. GT going to try and snuff them out, pick the patterns for the next week, and keep this train rolling. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be an exciting match. I'm going to throw you to break for a really short amount of time while we wait for the other 2 teams to be ready. But as soon as they do, we'll be back with more Mayhem action. Gotta catch 'em all.